First contact. The Galactic Confederation had stood for millennia, a beacon of advanced civilization amidst the cosmic darkness. Hundreds of species, each with their own unique cultures and technologies, had joined its ranks over the eons. Some came willingly, seeking the protection and prosperity the Confederation offered. Others were less enthusiastic, coerced through subtle manipulations or outright threats. But all eventually bowed to the superiority of the Confederation's might. At the apex of this interstellar society sat the Zoraks, a species as ancient as they were arrogant. With lifespans measured in centuries and technology that bordered on the miraculous, they saw themselves as the rightful rulers of all they surveyed. It was they who had founded the Confederation, who guided its policies, and who reaped the greatest rewards from its expansion. Ambassador Excelthor, a respected elder among the Zoraks, stood before the great viewing window of the diplomatic vessel Eternal Light. His iridescent scales shimmered in the starlight as he contemplated the blue-green world rotating slowly below. Earth, they called it. Such an unimaginative name for a planet, he mused. But then again, what else could one expect from such a primitive species? Ambassador, a voice chirped from behind him. Zelthor turned to see his aide, a young Zorax named Vexera, approaching with a datapad. The humans have agreed to meet with us. They're sending a delegation to the designated coordinates as we speak. Zelthor's mouth twisted into what passed for a smile among his kind. Excellent. Prepare the reception chamber. Let us give these newcomers a proper welcome to galactic society. As Vexera scurried off to make the necessary arrangements, Zelthor returned his gaze to the planet below. It had been barely a century since the humans had taken their first tentative steps into space. By Confederation standards, they were infants, hardly worth noticing. And yet something about them had caught the attention of the Zorax Council. Perhaps it was the speed of their technological advancement, or their stubborn resilience in the face of their own self-made catastrophes. Whatever the reason, the Council had deemed it time to make contact, to offer Earth a place in the Confederation, to guide these primitives towards a more enlightened future, or to crush them if they refused. The reception chamber of the Eternal Light was a marvel of Zorax engineering. Its walls seemed to shift and flow, creating the illusion of an endlessly expanding space. Holographic displays flickered to life, showcasing the grandeur of the Galactic Confederation. Zelthor stood at the center of it all, flanked by a contingent of lesser diplomats and security personnel. A low hum filled the air as the human shuttle docked with the Eternal Light. Zelthor straightened his ceremonial robes, preparing to meet these curious creatures face to face for the first time. The doors slid open, and the human delegation entered. Zelthor's inner eyelids flickered in surprise. He had expected them to be awed, overwhelmed by the majesty of Zorax technology. Instead, they walked in with heads held high, their expressions a mix of curiosity and, was that, amusement. At the head of the group was a tall, dark-skinned woman with close-cropped hair and piercing brown eyes. She stepped forward, her gaze locked on Zelthor. "Greetings," she said, her voice clear and confident. "I am Dr. Amelia Chen, representing the United Earth Council. We come in peace and friendship." Zelthor inclined his head slightly. "Welcome, Dr. Chen, to the Eternal Light. I am Ambassador Excelthor of the Zorax, speaking on behalf of the Galactic Confederation. We are pleased to make your acquaintance." As the formal introductions continued, Zelthor couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. These humans didn't behave like any newly contacted species he had encountered before. There was no fear, no blind reverence. They asked pointed questions about Confederation politics, trade policies, and technological exchanges. It was almost as if, "Ambassador," Dr. Chen said, interrupting his thoughts, "while we appreciate the Confederation's offer of membership, I'm afraid we must respectfully decline at this time." A ripple of shock passed through the Zorax contingent. Vexera actually gasped out loud before catching herself. Zelthor's scales darkened with barely contained anger. "Decline," he hissed. Perhaps you do not understand the opportunity being presented to you. The Galactic Confederation offers protection, guidance, access to technologies beyond your wildest dreams. To refuse is unwise. Dr. Chen's smile never wavered. We understand perfectly, Ambassador, and we are grateful for the offer. But humanity has its own path to forge among the stars. We look forward to peaceful coexistence and mutually beneficial trade with the Confederation, but we will do so as an independent nation. Zelthor's mind raced. This was unprecedented. No species had ever refused Confederation membership outright. The humans should be begging to join, not calmly asserting their independence. Something was very, very wrong here. I see, he said, struggling to maintain his composure. And may I ask what has led you to this unusual decision? Dr. Chen's eyes twinkled with barely suppressed mirth. Let's just say we've had some time to prepare for this moment, Ambassador. Humanity may be young by your standards, but we're quick learners, and we've learned enough to know that we're ready to stand on our own. As if on cue, a series of alarms began blaring throughout the eternal light. Vexera rushed to a nearby console, her scales paling as she read the incoming data. Ambassador, she whispered, her voice trembling. We're detecting massive energy signatures throughout the system. Hundreds of ships, thousands. They're decloaking all around us. Zelthor whirled back to face Dr. Chen, who stood calmly amidst the chaos erupting around them. What is the meaning of this? He demanded. You dare to threaten the Galactic Confederation. Not a threat, Ambassador, Dr. Chen replied, her voice steel beneath a veneer of politeness. Merely a demonstration. You see, we've known about the Confederation for quite some time, and we've been preparing. On the holographic displays that had once showcased Confederation might, new images appeared, sleek, deadly-looking ships of human design, more advanced than anything Zelthor had ever seen from such a young race. They moved with impossible speed and grace, forming an impenetrable barrier around Earth and its colonies. How? Zelthor whispered, his arrogance crumbling in the face of this unprecedented show of force. You're barely out of your Stone Age. This is impossible. Dr. Chen's expression softened slightly. We intercepted your scout ships decades ago, Ambassador. We learned of the Confederation's methods of expansion, and we decided that when first contact came, we would be ready. We've had help, you see. Not every species in the galaxy agrees with the Confederation's approach. Zelthor's mind reeled. Rebel factions within the Confederation. Impossible. And yet the evidence was undeniable. Somehow, these humans had outmaneuvered the mightiest civilization in known space. What do you want? He asked, defeat coloring his words. Peace, Dr. Chen replied simply. Cooperation. A chance to forge our own destiny among the stars. We have no desire for conquest or subjugation, but we will not be ruled either. The age of the Confederation's unchallenged dominion is over, Ambassador. It's time for a new era of galactic relations. As the implications of her words sank in, Zelthor realized that everything was about to change. The Zorax, the Confederation, the very structure of galactic society. None of it would ever be the same. And it was all because of these humans, these upstart primitives who had somehow managed to turn the tables on their would-be conquerors. For the first time in his long life, Zelthor felt something akin to fear. Not of the humans themselves, but of the uncertain future they represented. A future where the Zorax were no longer the unquestioned masters of all they surveyed. As Dr. Chen and her delegation prepared to depart, leaving behind a stunned and shaken Zorax contingent, Zelthor couldn't help but wonder, what other surprises did these humans have in store for the galaxy? The age of complacency was over. The Zorax, and indeed the entire Galactic Confederation, would have to adapt or be left behind. And somehow, Zelthor knew this was only the beginning of humanity's impact on the cosmic stage. As the human shuttle disengaged from the eternal light, Zelthor watched it disappear into the starfield, surrounded by an escort of those impossibly advanced ships. He turned to Vexera, who still stood slack-jawed by the console. "Send a message to the Council," he said, his voice heavy with the weight of history in the making. Tell them everything has changed. The humans are here, and nothing will ever be the same again." The silent preparation. Dr. Amelia Chen stood before the United Earth Council, her posture rigid, her eyes reflecting the weight of the secret she had carried for so long. The chamber was filled with an air of anticipation. The world's leaders knew this wasn't just another debriefing. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice steady, "as you've been briefed, our first official contact with the Galactic Confederation has concluded. What you don't know is that this meeting was decades in the making." A murmur rippled through the assembly. Chen activated a holographic display, filling the chamber with images of sleek spacecraft and advanced technology. The silent preparation. Dr. Amelia Chen stood before the United Earth Council, her posture rigid, her eyes reflecting the weight of the secret she had carried for so long. The chamber was filled with an air of anticipation. The world's leaders knew this wasn't just another debriefing. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice steady, "as you've been briefed, our first official contact with the Galactic Confederation has concluded. What you don't know is that this meeting was decades in the making." A murmur rippled through the assembly. Chen activated a holographic display, filling the chamber with images of sleek spacecraft and advanced technology. 50 years ago, we intercepted a Confederation scout ship. Instead of announcing our discovery to the world, a decision was made. A decision that would shape the course of human history. The images shifted, showing underground facilities, secret laboratories, and clandestine meetings between humans and what were clearly non-human entities. "We formed the Terran Preparatory Alliance," Chen continued, "a secret global initiative with one goal: to ensure humanity's independence when we inevitably encountered the Confederation." In the depths of a hidden facility beneath the Atacama Desert, Dr. Elena Rodriguez adjusted her safety goggles and peered into the containment chamber. Inside, a piece of technology that looked like a cross between a crystal and a microchip pulsed with an otherworldly energy. "Dr. Chen," she spoke into her comm unit, "the quantum entanglement drive is stable. We're ready for the next phase of testing." Thousands of miles away, in a subterranean complex beneath the Arctic ice, Major Zhang Wei supervised the assembly of what appeared to be a massive cannon. "Graviton pulse weaponry is online," he reported. "Yield is beyond our initial projections. The Confederation won't know what hit them." Similar scenes played out in hidden locations across the globe. From the bottom of the Mariana Trench to the peaks of the Himalayas, humanity worked in secret, preparing for a confrontation they hoped would never come, but knew was inevitable. In orbit around Jupiter, cloaked from both Earth and Confederation sensors, the first ships of humanity's secret fleet underwent their final trials. Captain Sofia Nkrumah stood on the bridge of the TSS Defiant, marveling at how far they'd come. "All systems green," her XO reported. "The Alcubierre drive is functioning within parameters. We're ready to make the jump to Alpha Centauri on your command." Nkrumah nodded, a mix of pride and trepidation filling her chest. "Engage," she ordered, and in a flash of distorted space-time, the Defiant vanished, leaving not a trace of its passage. Back on Earth, in the secure chambers of the Terran Preparatory Alliance, Dr. Chen met with the alien allies who had made all of this possible. The Arconian, a being of shimmering energy barely contained within a humanoid form, spoke in a voice that seemed to resonate from everywhere and nowhere. "You've done well, humans," it said, "but the Confederation grows suspicious. Their scouts have been probing your system with increasing frequency." Chen nodded grimly. "We've noticed, but we're ready. The question is, are you? When the time comes, will your people stand with us?" The Arconian's form flickered, a gesture Chen had come to recognize as their equivalent of a nod. "We and the other resistance factions will honor our agreement. When humanity reveals itself, We will be there to support you. As the years passed, Earth continued its charade of normal technological progression. To the outside observer, humanity was making impressive but not unprecedented advancements. Colonies on Mars and the Moon expanded. The first publicly acknowledged interstellar probes were launched. All the while, the true extent of human capabilities remained hidden, a secret guarded more closely than any in history. In the chambers of the Galactic Confederation, unease was growing. Zelthor, now elevated to the Zorax High Council, found himself increasingly preoccupied with the enigma that was Earth. "They're too quiet," he muttered, poring over reports of human activity. No internal conflicts, no requests for aid or technology. It's not natural for such a young species. His aide, Vexera, now a respected diplomat in her own right, shared his concerns. "Perhaps we should increase our surveillance. Send in deep cover agents." Zelthor's scales rippled with frustration. "We've tried. Every attempt to infiltrate their society has failed. It's as if they know we're watching." Little did Zelthor know just how right he was. In a secure bunker beneath Geneva, the heart of Earth's defense network hummed with activity. Massive quantum computers sifted through exabytes of data, identifying and neutralizing Confederation probes and agents with ruthless efficiency. General Hakim al-Rashid, commander of Earth's covert defense forces, watched the holographic display with grim satisfaction. Another infiltration attempt foiled, he reported to Dr. Chen. "At this rate, the Confederation will start to realize something's amiss." Chen nodded, her face etched with the strain of decades of secrecy. "It's almost time," she said. "We can't keep this up forever. Sooner or later, we'll have to reveal ourselves." As if in response to her words, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Chen rushed to the central console, her heart pounding. The display showed a massive Confederation fleet, larger than any they'd detected before, dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. "It's happening," she breathed. "They're here." Across the globe, hidden facilities sprang into action. Planetary shields, previously dormant, hummed to life. The secret fleet, hidden in dimensional pockets throughout the solar system, prepared to reveal itself. In orbit around Earth, the Confederation diplomatic vessel Eternal Light reappeared, a familiar sight that now carried an air of menace. A transmission cut through all Earth's communication channels. "People of Earth," Zelthor's voice boomed, "your isolation has come to an end. The Galactic Confederation extends its final offer of membership. Refusal will be considered an act of rebellion against the natural order of the cosmos." In the control room, Chen exchanged glances with the world's leaders, all gathered for this moment. With a nod from the Secretary General, she stepped up to the communications array. "Ambassador Excelthor," she replied, her voice calm despite the gravity of the moment. "On behalf of the United Earth Council and all humanity, I must once again decline your offer. We choose to forge our own path among the stars." There was a moment of stunned silence from the Confederation vessel. When Zelthor spoke again, his voice trembled with barely contained rage. "So be it," he snarled. "You leave us no choice. Let this be a lesson to all who would defy the Confederation." As the Confederation fleet began to advance, Chen gave the order they had all been preparing for decades. "Activate all systems," she commanded. "It's time to show the galaxy who we really are." Across the solar system, humanity's hidden fleet shimmered into view. Planetary shields enveloped Earth and its colonies, and in hidden bases across the globe, weapons of unimaginable power came online. The battle for Sol was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The ultimatum. The Confederation fleet hung in space like a swarm of angry hornets, their ships glittering with barely restrained power. On the bridge of the flagship Eternal Dominion, Zelthor seethed with a mixture of rage and disbelief. How dare these upstart humans defy the natural order of the cosmos? Final communications check, he barked at his subordinates. "I want every sentient being on that miserable rock to hear our ultimatum." As his crew scrambled to comply, Zelthor allowed himself a moment of doubt. The humans' refusal had been unexpected, yes, but surely they would see reason when faced with the full might of the Confederation. They had to. On Earth, in the fortified bunker beneath Geneva, Dr. Amelia Chen and the United Earth Council watched the Confederation fleet with grim determination. Holographic displays showed the positions of Earth's hidden defenses, each one a testament to decades of secret preparation. "All systems are go," General Hakim al-Rashid reported. "Our fleet is in position. Shields are at maximum capacity, and weapon systems are hot. We're as ready as we'll ever be." Chen nodded, her face a mask of calm that belied the turmoil in her heart. "Let's hope it's enough," she murmured. Suddenly, every screen and communication device on Earth crackled to life. Zelthor's face, alien and imperious, filled the displays. "People of Earth," his voice boomed, "your petty defiance ends now. The Galactic Confederation has stewarded countless species to greatness. We have maintained peace and order across the cosmos for millennia. Your continued resistance is not only futile, it is an affront to the very fabric of galactic society." In homes, offices, and public squares across the globe, humans watched with a mixture of fear and determination. This was the moment they had been preparing for, even if most hadn't known it until now. Zelthor continued, his voice dripping with condescension. "We offer you one final chance. Submit to the Confederation's benevolent rule. Accept your place in the grand order of the universe. Do this, and we will be merciful. Your civilization will be allowed to flourish under our guidance." His eyes narrowed, and his tone grew cold. "Refuse, and we will have no choice but to consider your entire species as enemies of galactic peace. The consequences will be severe." As Zelthor's ultimatum echoed across the planet, Chen exchanged glances with the world leaders gathered in the bunker. With a nod from the Secretary General, she stepped up to the global communication array. "Ambassador Zelthor," she began, her voice steady and clear. "I speak now on behalf of not just the United Earth Council, but all of humanity. We have heard your ultimatum, and our answer remains unchanged. Earth and her colonies will not submit to Confederation rule." A gasp rippled through the Confederation fleet. On the Eternal Dominion, Zelthor's scales darkened with fury. But before he could respond, Chen continued. "For too long, the Confederation has imposed its will on the galaxy, stifling the growth and self-determination of countless species. That ends today. Humanity chooses freedom, not just for ourselves, but for all sentient beings who yearn to forge their own destinies." As she spoke, hidden installations across the solar system hummed to life. Earth's secret fleet, cloaked in dimensional pockets, prepared to reveal itself. "We do not seek conflict," Chen declared, her voice growing stronger. "But make no mistake, we are prepared to defend ourselves and our ideals. The time of the Confederation's unchallenged dominion is over. A new era of galactic relations begins now." With a nod to General al-Rashid, Chen gave the order they had all been waiting for. "Activate all systems. Let's show the galaxy who we really are." Across the solar system, humanity's hidden fleet shimmered into view. Thousands of ships, more advanced than anything the Confederation had ever encountered, took up defensive positions around Earth and its colonies. Planetary shields, previously invisible, sprang to life, enveloping human worlds in shimmering barriers of energy. On the Eternal Dominion, alarms blared as sensors struggled to process the suddenly changed tactical situation. Zelthor stared at the displays in disbelief, his mind refusing to accept what his eyes were seeing. "Impossible," he whispered. "They're savages, primitives. How could they have hidden this from us?" Back on Earth, Chen wasn't finished. "Ambassador Zelthor, members of the Galactic Confederation, we extend an invitation, not to rule or be ruled, but to cooperate as equals, to build a new galactic community based on mutual respect and shared prosperity." As she spoke, more ships began to appear, but these weren't human vessels. Arconian energy ships, Xanthi organic cruisers, and vessels from a dozen other species materialized alongside Earth's fleet. "We are not alone in our desire for change," Chen declared. "Many within the Confederation have long chafed under your rule. Today, they stand with us. Together, we offer a choice. Continue down the path of conflict, or join us in building a better future for all sentient beings." The silence that followed was deafening. Across the galaxy, on countless worlds, the broadcast was being watched with a mixture of hope and trepidation. For many, it was the first time they had dared to imagine a universe not dominated by the Confederation. On the Eternal Dominion, Zelthor's fury gave way to a cold, calculating rage. "You think your pretty words and hidden toys can challenge eons of Confederation rule?" he snarled. "You have made your choice, humans. Now face the consequences." With a gesture, he gave the order his warriors had been waiting for. "All ships, commence attack. Let's remind the galaxy why the Confederation has endured for so long." As the first salvos of energy weapons lanced out from the Confederation fleet, humanity's defenses sprang into action. Gravity wells redirected incoming fire, while quantum-entangled shields absorbed impossible amounts of energy. In the Geneva bunker, Chen watched the opening moments of the battle with a mixture of awe and dread. This was it, the moment that would decide not just humanity's fate, but the future of the entire galaxy. "All units, engage at will," General Al-Rashid commanded. "Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. Today, we fight not just for Earth, but for every species that has ever dreamed of freedom." At her command, the collected energy was shunted into Earth's primary defense weapon, a massive gravitational singularity projector built into the heart of the moon. The lunar surface split open, revealing the muzzle of a cannon that dwarfed entire cities. The weapon fired, a concentrated beam of warped space-time that crossed the distance to the Confederation dreadnought in an instant. The massive ship, pride of the Confederation fleet, simply ceased to exist, crushed into subatomic particles by the power of an artificial black hole. On the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, Zelthor watched in horror as his most powerful asset was wiped from existence. "Impossible," he breathed, his scales pale with shock. How can they have such power?" But the humans weren't done. The energy collectors continued to hum, drawing power from the quantum foam of space itself. Across the solar system, more hidden weapons platforms revealed themselves. From the moons of Jupiter to the rings of Saturn, humanity's full arsenal was brought to bear. Caught between Earth's primary fleet and this unexpected onslaught from the outer system, the Confederation forces found themselves in disarray. Ships once thought invincible fell to graviton pulses and quantum disruptors. Tactics honed over millennia of unopposed dominance proved useless against humanity's unconventional strategies. As the tide of battle turned, the Confederation's allies began to switch sides. Arconian energy vessels and Xanthi organic ships, once forced to fight alongside their oppressors, now turned their weapons on their former masters. In the Geneva bunker, Chen watched as the Confederation fleet began to break apart, individual ships attempting to flee the slaughter. "We've won," Al-Rashid said, his voice filled with awe. "We've actually done it." But Chen's expression remained grim. "Not yet," she said, her eyes fixed on the Eternal Dominion, still holding its position at the heart of the Confederation formation. "It's not over until they stand down." On the Confederation flagship, Zelthor faced a decision that would shape the future of the galaxy. His fleet was in tatters, his most powerful weapons neutralized. The humans and their allies had revealed technological capabilities that rivaled or even surpassed the Confederation's best. For the first time in his long life, Zelthor felt the cold sting of defeat. But more than that, he felt something he had never experienced before: doubt. Doubt in the Confederation's right to rule. Doubt in the superiority that had been drilled into him since birth. With trembling hands, he opened a channel to the human command center. Dr. Chen's face appeared on the screen, her expression a mixture of determination and hope. "Dr. Chen," Selthor said, his voice hollow, on behalf of the Galactic Confederation. I submit to your terms. The attack on Sol is over. A cheer went up in the Janiga bunker, echoed across Earth, and throughout the human fleet. But Chen simply nodded, her face solemn. "Thank you, Ambassador," she replied. "We accept your surrender. Let this be the first step towards a new era of cooperation and mutual respect." As the remnants of the Confederation fleet stood down, Chen turned to address her fellow humans and their allies. The battle for Sol was over, but the real work of reshaping the galaxy was just beginning. "Today, we have shown the universe what humanity is capable of," she declared. "Not just our technological prowess or our fighting spirit, but our capacity for forgiveness and our vision for a better future. Let us use this victory not as an excuse for dominance, but as an opportunity to build something truly great. A galactic community where all sentient beings can thrive and reach for the stars together." As her words echoed across the solar system and beyond, a new chapter in galactic history began to unfold. The age of Confederation rule was over. The era of human innovation and interspecies cooperation had just begun. And the universe would never be the same again. A new galactic order. The galactic landscape had been irrevocably altered in the wake of the battle for Sol. As the dust settled and the fires of conflict cooled, the monumental task of reshaping interstellar society began in earnest. Dr. Amelia Chen stood before the newly formed Galactic Council, a diverse assembly of representatives from Earth, former Confederation worlds, and the species that had allied with humanity. The chamber, located on a neutral space station orbiting a star at the galaxy's heart, hummed with anticipation. "Fellow sentients," Chen began, her voice carrying the weight of recent history, "we stand at a crossroads. The old order has fallen, but the shape of our future remains to be determined. It falls to us to ensure that the sacrifices made in the battle for Sol were not in vain." As she spoke, holographic displays came to life, showing the ongoing reconstruction efforts across the galaxy. Confederation worlds, long subjugated, were embracing newfound freedoms. Earth ships, once hidden, now openly shared human innovations with grateful allies. "Our victory was not just one of military might," Chen continued. "It was a triumph of ideas, of the belief that all sentient beings have the right to self-determination, that cooperation and mutual respect can achieve more than domination and fear." In the audience, Zelthor listened with a mixture of humility and amazement. The former Confederation ambassador, now serving as a liaison to ease the transition of power, marveled at how quickly his worldview had been upended. "The humans continue to surprise us," he murmured to his aide, Vexara. "I expected retribution, demands for reparations. Instead, they speak of unity and shared progress." Vexara nodded, her scales shimmering with a newfound hope. "Perhaps this is why they were able to defeat us," she whispered back. "They think in ways we never considered possible." On the station's observation deck, Captain Sophia Nkrumah of the TSS Defiant stood with her Arconian counterpart, Xylix. The two had fought side by side in the battle's final hours, forging a bond that transcended species. "Your people have changed everything," Xylix said, its energy form pulsing with admiration. "In all our years of secret resistance, we never dared to hope for such a complete transformation." Nkrumah smiled, her eyes on the stars beyond. "We had good teachers," she replied. "Without your guidance, your technology, we might never have been ready when the Confederation came." Back in the council chamber, Chen was outlining the principles that would guide the new galactic community. "First and foremost, we propose a doctrine of non-interference," she declared. "No species shall impose its will or culture upon another. Younger civilizations will be allowed to develop at their own pace, free from external manipulation." A murmur of approval rippled through the assembly. Many remembered all too well the heavy hand of Confederation guidance. "Secondly, we will establish open channels for the exchange of knowledge and technology. No longer will advancements be hoarded by a select few. Together, We will push the boundaries of science and exploration. As Chen spoke, teams of human and alien scientists were already hard at work. In laboratories across the galaxy, the combined knowledge of 100 species was yielding breakthroughs that would have been impossible under the old regime. Third, we will create a mutual defense pact, Chen continued, not to wage war or subjugate others, but to protect the rights and freedoms we have fought so hard to achieve. Any threat to one of us shall be considered a threat to all. In orbital shipyards around Earth, a new class of vessels was taking shape. These weren't warships, but exploration craft, designed to push deeper into the unknown reaches of the cosmos. They carried the best technology from a dozen worlds, crewed by diverse teams of intergalactic explorers. Finally, Chen said, her voice softening, "We must address the wounds of the past. The Confederation's rule left scars on many worlds, many peoples. It falls to all of us, humans, former Confederation species, and our allies, to heal these wounds together." As she spoke, images flashed across the displays. Joint reconstruction efforts on war-torn worlds. Cultural exchange programs bringing diverse species together. Former enemies working side by side to build a better future. In a quiet corner of the station, Major Zhang Wei sat with a group of young Zoraks. Once bitter foes, they now eagerly exchanged stories and ideas. "Tell us again about Earth's oceans," one of the Zoraks pleaded. "Is it true your world is mostly water?" Zhang laughed, pulling up a holographic image of Earth. "See for yourself," he said. "And someday soon, I hope you'll visit and see it firsthand." The wonder in the young alien's eyes reminded Zhang of why they had fought so hard. Not just for humanity's future, but for moments like this, of connection, of shared discovery. As Chen's address concluded, a sense of possibility filled the chamber. Representatives from hundreds of worlds rose in a standing ovation, their diverse forms united in hope for the future. In the Geneva bunker, now repurposed as a center for galactic coordination, General Hakim al-Rashid watched the proceedings with pride. Beside him stood holographic representations of key figures from the battle for Sol. "We did it," he said softly. "We really did it." The AI construct of the late Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the brilliant scientist behind much of Earth's advanced technology, nodded in agreement. "Humanity has taken its first true steps into the galactic community," she said. "The real journey is just beginning." As the council session ended, Shen found a quiet moment alone. She gazed out at the star-filled vista, marveling at how far they had come. From a single blue world, isolated and unaware, to the architects of a new galactic age. The path ahead was uncertain, filled with challenges they had yet to imagine. But Chen felt a sense of optimism she hadn't known in years. Humanity had proven itself capable of not just surviving the cosmic arena, but of reshaping it for the better. As she turned to rejoin her colleagues, Chen's comm unit chimed. A message from Earth's deep space monitoring stations flashed across the screen. An anomaly had been detected at the edge of charted space, signs of something vast and unknown stirring in the cosmic depths. Chen smiled. The galaxy had thrown challenge after challenge at humanity, and each time they had risen to meet it. Whatever this new mystery was, she knew that they would face it not alone, but with a united galaxy at their side. The next chapter of their cosmic adventure was about to begin, and this time, no one would ever make the mistake of underestimating humanity again. As the stars wheeled slowly in the void, the new galactic civilization looked to the future with hope, wonder, and the unshakable determination that had carried humanity from its first tentative steps beyond Earth to the very heart of the cosmos. The universe, vast and full of possibilities, awaited.